This is the 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. Is it a trend-setting mid-size crossover SUV? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I borrowed this model from my friends at Morgan Hyundai in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you happen to want to know more, maybe come in and buy this particular Palisade, check out the link down in the description of the video. Here on the front end, LED lighting everywhere you look. But it's not typical as far as the overall look. We're going to have our LED projector beam headlights and our turn signal indicators right here that match the design of the grille. I like how all of that flows together, but I think my favorite thing here as far as lighting goes is this cascading look with our daytime running lights. Running from up top, take a little break, a little more right here, another break, and then we finish things up down here. A nice look overall, that is for sure. I like how that all flows together. This model is all-wheel drive, so for those of you who live in an area where you deal with a lot of snow and ice, or maybe just difficult terrain, whatever the case is, this is a good option for you. Speaking of being all-wheel drive, if you're curious to know about the tire and wheel size, we're looking at 245 for our width, the 50 series sidewall, and all of that's going to wrap around 20-inch wheels. And the uniqueness continues its way up to the side view mirrors. They're power adjustable, they're heated, turn signal indicators built in here and here. It's kind of a unique look. I like how that works. And we'll also have the remote right here, and I'm going to demonstrate some of what this remote does later in the video, so stick around for that with these two buttons right here in case you're not familiar. Pretty easy to deal with. Remote start right there. That's going to work just fine. You're going to have your roof rails up top, and you'll notice that you really don't have chrome here. It's a silver finish, so for those of you who maybe don't like chrome, well, not a bad option necessarily. It would be nice to see the rear window wiper maybe concealed away up here. There's definitely room for it, I believe. They could have made that work in that rear roof spoiler, but you know what? Not necessarily a big deal. And we'll have a similar look with our taillights as we did with our headlights with the overall design. Again, that's going to be LED. The only thing that I think should change back here, and this is my personal opinion, you might say, you know what, Tom, that is no issue to me. Then again, you might say, that's why I didn't buy a Palisade. But that's the fact that you only have the dual exhaust outlets over here on the right-hand side. Honestly, I think either have two on each side or one on each side. I just think that would work a little bit better. Now, maybe that's just my OCD kicking in, I don't know. But speaking of exhaust, let's open the hood and talk about what exactly is being exhausted. Under the hood is the 3.8-liter V6. It puts out 291 horsepower and 262 pounds-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Let's take a look at the MPGs. We're looking at 19 city, 24 highway, 21 combined, and 4.8 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And you have a gas cap here, not something we see on a lot of vehicles anymore. So if you like the old school gas caps, well, there you go. That's an 18.8 gallon gas tank. And one thing that definitely separates Hyundai apart, the warranty. You're looking at 5 years or 60,000 miles as far as the new vehicle warranty goes. And as far as the powertrain goes, you're looking at 10 years or 100,000 miles. Earlier in the video, I showed you the remote. And these two buttons right here, I said I'd give you a tutorial on that and show you how that works. That's called Smart Park Assist. Let's say that you park somewhere and you have people that are too close on each side or whatever the case is, and you need to move your Palisade, but you can't get inside and you don't want to go through the back door, the tailgate. Well, here's what you do. We're going to make sure the vehicle is locked, and then we're going to hold down the remote start button. We're going to let it start. We're going to notice that it has started. And notice that I have the front wheels turned all the way to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this button down. Now I'm going to walk up here just a little bit. When I hold this button down, let me just make sure I'm not in the shot so I block this. Watch this. Here's what's going to happen. The front wheels are going to go ahead and turn, as you can see right there. And nobody's in the vehicle, and it's backing up. So if you were in a really tight spot and you needed to back out, no problem, you can do that. Now, I take my finger off of the button and I'm going to hold down the button that will take the vehicle forward. It's going to go into drive, and here it comes forward. And what's really interesting is if I stand in front of it, it's going to stop. So it's nice to know that if there's an obstruction of some sort, some kind of an obstacle, that you don't have to worry about the Palisade, your Palisade, running into that obstacle. And you can tow up to 5,000 pounds if you need to do some towing with your Palisade. You do have the hands-free power tailgate, and we're looking at 18 up to 86 cubic feet of cargo capacity. There is a spare tire located underneath the vehicle, and obviously the tools right there to change that tire. Quite a bit of space underneath the floor right here, and some extras here. You have the cargo net. Quite a bit here as far as space goes. 12-volt power outlet right here. Here's one thing that's going to separate this model from the Palisade Calligraphy from, say, the Honda Pilot. And that's going to be number one, the fact that we have power seats. So here's how we're going to do this. You can see by the diagram on each control what does what. So we're going to go ahead and let those down. Notice I just pushed the buttons one time. I'm not holding anything down. That is nice to know. And bringing those back up is going to work the same way. Now, there is a difference with the middle row seats compared to these rear seats. They go down automatically. You're gonna have to manually put those back up. You can see that again by the diagram right here. Not a big deal, easy to deal with. And here's how everything looks maximized. I did make sure to lower those middle row seats all the way down as far as they'll go. And something else that's nice here. You have a nice large rear sunroof. It's bigger than the front, but you have a split, so I don't know if I'd call this so much a panoramic sunroof. You have a front and rear sunroof, a power shade for the rear portion, a manual shade for the front, but that front portion over the driver and passenger seats will open. It will tilt and slide open. And just a quick look around here with the rear seating area. Don't worry, I'm going to climb back there and show you how I fit as well. And you do have a black interior here. So if you like that, well, that's a good thing. Personally, I prefer lighter colors. Everybody has their options. Tell me what your favorite interior color is. You will find the privacy shades here on the doors on both sides in the rear seating area. And I do like the design here as far as the design work goes. Something to set the Palisade apart from its competition. Plenty of room with the armrest here. I like the fact that it is completely flat. A couple of cup holders here in addition to a nice large bottle holder down there that could be used as a door bin as well. And as you can see, the seat here on the left-hand side of the driver's side is pushed all the way back. The seat over there on the passenger side is pushed all the way forward. Unrealistic if someone's sitting there that it would be in that position, unless someone just enjoys riding Indian style. I don't think that would be very comfortable. We'll push the button right there. That gets the seat easily up and out of the way. And let's see if I can get in here without making a blooper. There, I made it. I'm seated without a problem. Now, here is another of the options as far as space goes. I will say that the floor is a little bit high for my liking. I can't stretch out quite as much as I would like to, although you have the pass-through right here where you could do that if you wanted to. And we can see here that we have a few different options as far as a USB outlet right there. We're also going to have our cup holders right here. And if you're wondering what these are for, well, first of all, you can recline these seats. That's a big question a lot of people have. Do the rear seats recline? Yes, they do. We'll do this on both sides. I'll put that back up where it was. Now, right here, that's the heated seat function. The second and third row seats are heated. Not necessary today. It is way too hot for that. The front seat's heated and thankfully ventilated. And to get back out of the third row, I'm not going to jump through that pass-through, but I'll push the button right there and get the seat up and out of the way for me. That makes things a lot easier. And I didn't show this in the third row, but it's the same way. You have the roof-mounted air conditioning vents. I really like that because the air doesn't have to travel as far to get to the passengers. So that's always nice to see. And here is the command center, the nerve center, the control center, whatever you want to call that, for controlling everything as far as the temperature, the fan speed, all of that. You can also turn the heated seats on and off back here. Guess what? I missed one thing when I told you that these were only heated in the middle row. They're ventilated as well, so I'm turning that on for the moment. That is a good thing. 12-volt power outlet right here, and we're also going to have a household power outlet there. Now you might say, wait a minute, no USB ports? Yeah, they are right here mounted in the seat backs. Nothing unusual with Hyundai. So there is how that works. Now, one thing that honestly I think could be improved upon, the armrests right here with these middle row seats. Why is that? Well, because you can see that only about half of my arm fits on there roughly. I could pull my arm that much further back, but it's just not as comfortable. I really want to have it a little further forward, and just having that space right there, nothing to support my hand and the front portion of my arm, yeah, that just doesn't work for me. Just one of those little things that I noted. Tell me what your thoughts are about that. And for those who are wondering, what is the sticker price on that Palisade Calligraphy, Tom? $54,724. Now I want you to think about something. You're going to be around the same price range with the 2024 and 2025 models of the Honda Pilot Black Edition that this model competes with. Tell me what you think about the differences in what you get here compared to some of what you don't necessarily get over there with the Honda Pilot. Let's see what else we have here. There are some things here that you can get with both models, such as seat memory. Now, one thing, even at this price point, I realize that it's not as high as some vehicles out there, is the fact that you only have seat memory on the driver's side, not on the passenger side. I think you should have it in both places. And you'll notice that we have that same design on the door panel here on the front doors that we did on the rear. But it works its way up to more trim that goes across the dashboard. A very nice look, very clean. All of your controls and switches here. I like the lack of gloss black in this area because there's not going to be any fingerprinting issues. You can touch all of the switches and controls here and the trim around it all day long. Not a single fingerprint will show up. Well, I guess it depends. If you dip your hands in paint or ketchup or mustard, well, then you would have fingerprints. Just don't do that. And you can see your controls that you have right here. I probably don't have to tell you too much about what is what right there. I am a little surprised that there's not a power adjustable steering wheel here. It's manually adjustable. We drop that lever I just showed you. You can adjust that, but it seems like it should be power adjustable. Here are your steering wheel mounted controls. You can see what you have here. I like the design of the steering wheel just because it's different. If you didn't have this area right here, I would say you definitely need a third spoke right here. But with what we have here, not a big deal. I think that looks good. Your paddle shifters to work your way back and forth through your 8-speed automatic transmission. Here are the controls for turning on your headlights and taillights and using your blinkers. And when you do so, you get the view into your blind spot on the appropriate side. Now, I actually had somebody earlier in the day I was talking to who owns a Hyundai Santa Cruz that said they prefer not to have that because they want their focus to be more on the blind spot monitoring. That way they're more focused on their side view mirrors and their blind spot. Tell me what you think about that. What has your experience been like? And I don't know how well you can see it, but you do have a head-up display here, and you can go into the infotainment screen to adjust that. In fact, we're going right here to vehicle, and there's a lot going on here. There's your head-up display. You can control everything there, easy to deal with. How about, let's see if I can get out of there, how about your drive modes? Well, you actually can select your modes right down here, so that's easy to deal with. In fact, we'll run through some of that real fast here. Let's start with Smart up there. You're going to have that. You're going to have Sport. You're also going to have Comfort, Eco, and Snow. For those of you who I was telling earlier about the fact that you have all-wheel drive, that's going to be helpful to you in a multitude of ways. That's always a good thing. Now, your cluster, you might have noticed, let's see if I can get that to work for me. You might have noticed that has a very interesting look to it. Even your, what would be tachometer over here, it's digital, but a nice modern look. I really like the way that looks. So you can actually go in and choose your theme. Let's see if I can get that to work. That's just my lack of experience, I guess. So let's see what all we have here. Let's just run through a couple of these. There's Classic. You're used to seeing that, I think. We also have Classic B. That's Classic A. There's Classic B. Very nice look, a little more sporty. Classic C. A little bit more refined, I would say. And then we have Cube, which is where we were earlier. I really like that, personally. That's my favorite. Which one is yours? And you can see that you have a lot of other things to choose from right here. Very easy to deal with, very easy to figure out what it is that you need to do. I'm not going to cover everything here, but the infotainment screen, very easy to deal with. Navigation menu right there. In some Hyundai models I've seen in the past, it just says navigation and map, and it's kind of confusing. I'm glad to see that it says navigation menu right there. You do have built-in map right here if you want to use that built-in navigation. Ultimately, you can pair your smartphone wirelessly. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you have passenger talk right there in case you want to get control of your unruly passengers with your adult voice, whichever that may be. Phone projection, climate right here. We can go in and make some change. And you're going to notice a little bit of a change from the last scene to this scene. That's because my battery died. So I'm going to try and make a smooth transition as best as I can, but I don't know what was in the last scene. So I was talking about the fact that when you change driving modes, that you will actually feel the bolstering in the seats change. And that's going to be obviously from changing the mode here. If we go from Smart to Sport, that's where you're going to feel the bolstering tighten up a little bit. I can't really show you that so much as I can tell you about it. But what I can show you is the multiple camera views that we have here, including our overhead 360-degree view. If we need to zoom in on that, we can zoom in a little bit. There's only one option for zooming in and zooming out with that, but you can see what's there. You have your backup camera, and we have multiple views here. A very nice look, very clear. It's nice to see that. You have your side view mirror cameras. You also have the ability to look around the vehicle depending on what you want to see and where you want to see it from. You could have multiple views at the same time here, obviously, depending on where you want to see overhead or whatever the case is. Really, really nice. I like what Hyundai offers where these cameras are concerned. So that's a really nice feature. And you can see some of your OneTouch features here. You also have the control right here, the knob for the volume and turning the radio on and off. You can surf through your stations right here and some of your OneTouch features, OneTouch buttons, I should say, right there. There's your hazard light button if you need to turn that on and off. And you control your dual zone climate control here in the front seat right here. You can see where everything is as far as that goes. Fan speed, temperature, all that good stuff. Right down here is where we control our ventilated seats and our heated seats, also a heated steering wheel. What would you think about a ventilated steering wheel? When your vehicle is sitting out in direct sunlight for a long enough time, this steering wheel can get rather warm. It'd be nice to have that ventilated. Just something to think about. I don't know if Hyundai would ever do that or any other automaker. I haven't seen that before, but that might be a good thing. Now, the one thing that I wonder about, what do you think about the push button shifter? Would you like to see some other option? And what would you like for that to be? Here's your wireless charging pad, USB connectivity, and you have some really nice options here as far as your cup holders go. If you need more space, you can have more space. When you need to use the cup holders, you can use the cup holders. Wireless charging pad, and if you want to just hide all of that away and forget all about it, there's how you do it. And inside of the center console, plenty of space, plenty of room right there, and the upper console. There's a lot going on here, that's for sure. Like I said earlier, you have the manual shade for your conventional size sunroof here in the front seat area. All right. We're out on the road for the test drive. If you hear anything moving around in the interior, that's just some of the loose items in the back there. We didn't talk a lot about the head-up display, but you can obviously adjust it. Positioning, you can actually have it automatically adjust to the seat position. If you want to, you can adjust what's on it. So pretty easy to deal with. Acceleration is actually pretty good as far as what I've experienced. Not meant to be a high performance vehicle, but you know what? When I need to get up to speed, I can get up to speed. Not a big deal. Just easing into the pedals seems to do the job. I like that. That's always a good thing. comfortable ride quality, and I really like the fact that the steering is nice and responsive. It's fairly tight. I'm not going to say it's sports car tight, but it is fairly tight and definitely gives you that feeling of being in control. I really like that. That's always a good thing. If you have a vehicle that has steering that just doesn't feel very responsive or has kind of a loose feeling to it, one of the competitors of the Palisade definitely qualifies for that. But overall, very enjoyable to drive, very comfortable, easy to fit in. At 5'10", I have no problem fitting in here, but if you adjust the seat properly, you can easily fit here in the driver's seat, being over 6 feet tall. For those of you who are well in excess of being 6 feet tall, how well do you fit? You can tell us down in the comments section because, well, obviously I can't at 5'10", so it's always interesting to receive feedback from other people. Very easy controls to learn. The infotainment screen is super easy to deal with. It might look a little complicated, but once you get into it and start working your way around and learning your way around, it really isn't that bad. So I think that it's a very well-balanced vehicle. Everything is so easy for me to get to from the driver's seat. That's always a good thing. Easy to see out of as well. And one thing, I'm glad that I have you in the position that I do right now, because there is one very important thing I didn't mention earlier in the video. Hopefully you can see that. So if you have somebody sitting in the back seat back there in the third row and it's obstructing your view with the side or rear view mirror, well, guess what? You can fix that just like I did right there. And speaking of side view mirrors, one thing that I think is very interesting here is that you have the driver's side and the passenger side that are both auto dimming side view mirrors. There are vehicles out there that are far more expensive than the Palisade, such as some Land Rover models that I've seen that only have an auto dimming driver's side mirror. Just an interesting point. So tell me what you think about the 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. Power seats for the driver and the passenger up there. I didn't mention that earlier in the video. That probably goes without saying. But do you think this is a trend-setting mid-size crossover SUV? It definitely has some features that not all of its competitors have. That's for sure. But is it enough? Tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Morgan Hyundai in Shreveport, Louisiana for loaning me this Palisade for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out. Make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.